Hello, Lazza here, and in today's video we are back checking out the top 8 brand new shaders for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. We will showcase shaders which support iOS, Android and Windows 10 on Render Dragon running 1.20 and above. If you are enjoying today's video, a like is always appreciated. Can we smash the like goal of 500 likes on today's video? If you would like to learn how to install shaders on Minecraft Bedrock Edition 1.20 and above, I will link tutorials in the description for Android, iOS and Windows 10. The first shader we are checking out is Adin Shader. This shader has been updated and only supports Android. Now all the gameplay from Android, I will be using my Samsung Galaxy S8. As you can tell, it is a lower end device, so you can see some lag. However, it shows you that these shaders are pretty decent on lower end devices. Now Adin Shader is a lovely shader. I really love the sunrise sunset colors in this shader. It gives it a bit of a purplish hue when it does sunrise sunset, which I think looks really spectacular. This shader also has some really unique clouds which I think look lovely, and it even has the cloud reflections on the water. The water has that nice wave which is always good to see. It even has an underwater effect which is quite lovely. Since we are showcasing so many shaders, I will keep the commentary to a minimum per shader, so I may miss some features throughout my gameplay review, so make sure you download and check out all the shaders as you might stumble across a new feature which I haven't showcased. Now moving on to YSS Special Edition, which was recently updated. Special Edition only works on Windows 10 and select Android devices, as you will probably need a high-end device to run this shader. Now the gameplay I'm using is from my Windows 10 computer. As you can see, a significant amount of lag, not the highest frame rates, and if I'm being honest, I probably would not run this shader on my normal survival world. As you can see in the gameplay, the Special Edition comes with dynamic shadows, which is amazing. I still can't believe that we have dynamic shadows in Bedrock Edition. It is so amazing. As you can also see, it does have the water reflections of the clouds. The sun looks quite lovely, and the sun even has God rays and sun lighting effects, which is so awesome. You could practically call this a Java shader. It is so close. And that was even closer. The YSS Shader team are constantly working on their shaders, so make sure you follow them and join their Discord, as that's where you can download all the shaders in their Discord alongside the patch version for Android. If you are on an Android device, you can download the modified APK for Minecraft preview and non-preview. Now moving on to Frasty Shader. Now this shader does support Android Render Dragon version. However, when I tried to use it on my Samsung Galaxy S8, it did crash. So unfortunately, I could not use gameplay on my Android. However, this shader also has a non-Render Dragon version. So if you're on iOS and running 1.18.12 or below, you can still use this shader. And I suppose for Android as well. So the gameplay is from my iPhone, and the shader does look quite lovely. You can tell it is a low-end shader as it doesn't have too many features, but it still does look quite lovely. So what I like about this shader is the clouds aren't too heavy, so this shader works perfectly fine on lower end devices. It does have some lovely coloring to the sunrise and sunset. I did notice with the water, it doesn't really have any reflections or much on top. However, you can see the underwater acoustics from above, which is always a lovely feature, and I do appreciate it in a shader. And when you go underneath the water, you can continue to see the underwater acoustics, which do look quite lovely. Now moving on to the next shader, which is ReWanston Shader, was recently updated to support Render Dragon on Android devices. First, I would like to jump into the end and show you the lovely end sky. This shader has a really lovely, subtle but really lovely end sky effect. It adds the stars and changes the colors to make it look quite lovely. Speaking of beautiful skies, when I use this on my Android device, as you can see, there is no skies. I don't know what happened. It might be a bug on my Samsung Galaxy S8. However, the clouds and the skies are just not there. For myself, I had to turn off the beautiful skies to remove that kind of pinkish effect. I'm not too sure what happened. It must have been a bug. But using the shader does look quite lovely. As you can see with the water, it does have a nice water wave and animation. It has a really awesome cloud reflection on the water, which is always nice to see. And with this shader, as I have showcased it many times in the past, it does have some quite lovely lighting and realistic effects. Now moving on to another shader I have covered in the past, which is NewB Shader. It was recently updated to add some more optimizations and I guess change a few features. So as you know, NewB Shader is not a high-end shader. It works perfectly fine on a lower end device, and this shader works across Android, iOS and Windows 10. This shader was recently updated to version 15, which added some entity shading, updated the environmental directions, updated the clouds, updated the pack icon. Ooh, can't go wrong with that. This shader also has the glowing aura effect, and it even has a really awesome end sky. I really enjoy the end sky with this shader, as it does give you that kind of purplish hue with the stars, which does look quite lovely. It gives it that purple hue, which definitely fits the aesthetic of the end, and I think it looks amazing with those flickering stars as well. This shader also has one of the best rain effects, so when it does rain you get those puddles on the water, and it really looks really awesome. Now moving on to the final shader for Render Dragon, which is NewB Shader. This shader only works on Android devices. This shader is another lower end shader. As you can tell by my FPS, I'm getting some decent frame rates. I'm not really lagging, which is always good to see. This shader also has a nice animation with the leaves and tall grass in the wind. This shader also has some glowing ores, so you can spot those diamonds while you are mining, which is always helpful. Now bringing it into daytime, you can see the shader has a lovely sunrise sunset effect. It does look awesome with those orange hues coming off the sun there when it comes in the sunrise, which is always nice to see. And as you can see, the clouds do look nice as well. The clouds aren't too noticeable as they are really light and not too heavy, but they do look quite lovely. Now going to the water, I can tell you that it doesn't do much with the water. It kind of changes the texture of the top of the water, which kind of looks like an RTX water effect, just minus the reflections. Now moving on to the final two shaders, which are for non-render dragon. These shaders are vanilla EGR Shader and Clover Shader. I will just quickly wrap up the commentary and just play the gameplay with some audio, but these both shaders are quite lovely and they do have a lot of features. So these non-render dragon shaders only work on iOS and Android running 1.18.12 or below. But that is all for today's video. Let me know in the comments which is your favorite shader I have showcased in today's video. If I've missed any shaders, let me know in the comments and I will be sure to check them out. But thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.